Hello, everybody. First, thanks to Ganat for organizing this. And I just read her biography. I should say the incredible Ganat. I didn't know, I knew some of the stuff, but anyway, you're here and life is a miracle and you're living proof. Anyway, I'm Bob. Okay, I'm Bob Carr. I'm an American living in the Czech Republic. I have a macrobiotic center here called Wonderful Life Centrum. And we also have a farm where we grow our own grains and beans and vegetables. And the topic is, how we're going to eat in 2036. And my subtopic is bringing up Benji. Let me get my son Benji, my 8-year-old son, and see if he'll make an appearance. 1 second. Benji, come on up. Benji. He's on the way. You know, when I think of 2036, I think it's Benji. It's the future. It's our children. I'm sort of here comes Benji. This is my son Benji.
Hi, Benji.
My own living miracle, I tell you. Thanks a lot, Benji.
Sure.
Enjoy. So we're talking to the whole world. There are people in California and yeah, do a little dance there. Yeah, there's Benji in action. Move it out. Okay, thanks, Benji. Thanks.
Bye.
Bye. Benji speaks English?
He speaks Czech and English fluently, and he's going to school now. He was homeschooled for a couple of years. Yes, Benji? Yeah. So, but he speaks, now he's going to school, and he speaks better than the English teacher. He's, being my son, he's a native speaker. Oh, Benji would like to introduce his best friend who's here. Oh, no, this is his Spider-Man cop. The battery went out on it last night, or else it would be flashing for you. Look at that, Benji. She's making the love sign. Super.
Hello.
Okay,
Goodbye.
thanks, Benji. Thanks.
Bye. Can I show mushroom pie?
Yeah, but later, a little later.
Okay.
So anyway, we're talking about eating for 2036, and for me, my son and our children, they are the future. It's their world. And the subtopic was, bringing up Benji's, in other words, his education. Well, he was homeschooled for a couple of years, and now he's in kind of an alternative Waldorf-like school, which is great. But in my view, the real education is what he gets at home. And of course, food is fundamental, but also in the way he sees how we relate to people and how we bring him up, and everything. Home is the most principal education, and that's it. Well, so anyway, when it comes to 9-star key, everybody knows more than I do on this subject. I just love it. And on the yearly cycle and on relationships, I understand it pretty well and can teach it. But get me into the 9-year and the 81-year cycle. And well, for me, what I do instead is I turn to my crystal ball. It's my intuitive 9-star key. And so that's how I'm going to present how I see how we should eat, my 9-star key for 2036. So I'm peering into my 9-star crystal ball, and I see good and I see bad. The good is that I see a lot of love in the world. I see the green movement, the Me Too movement, the Black Lives Matter movement. I see even my ex-wife, although we're divorced, I'm great. We keep good contact. We care about Benji, and her parents are my best friends up here. So these are all wonderful. But there's a dark side behind the good side. We've got global warming, we've got COVID, we've got wars, we've got too many guns in America. It's probably one reason I'm here. There's lots going on. And so for wondering how we're going to eat in 2036, what do we see? A couple of years ago, we had an amazing drought. And then we've had a couple of years of flooding, and not just global warming, but whole climate is shifting. For example, since I have a farm, I'll tell you more about the farm later. I have a farm. when we had drought, I had been growing and my own wheat and barley and rye and corn. But the year before the drought, I said, I'm going to try millet. And so I grew some millet. And it was drought year. Nothing grew except the millet thrived. The millet is grown a lot in like India. And it grows really well and it doesn't need any water. It just needs a little water to start it and it's drought resistant. So I grew about 150 kilos of millet, and I got from the Kushi Institute, they had a rice hulling machine about 8 years ago. They didn't use it. They sold it to a German friend of mine. He didn't use it, so I bought it. And it didn't work for wheat or rye or oats, but it worked perfectly for my millet. So I was able to dehull the millet. And now when I want millet, I freshly hull some and put it in. But the point is I realized that I've got to prepare for global warming. This used to be the coldest area in the Czech Republic, and we haven't had much snow. I haven't been able to cross country ski much. So I realized, okay, millet is a grain that if it gets drier, this is something I can grow. So for education for Benji, I want to show him how we can survive the possible troubles, the challenges that are on the horizon. My crystal ball is saying we could have a war in Ukraine in a couple of days. There could be all kinds of things going on. So what I've done on the farm is I want to be somewhat self-sufficient. Of course, I grow everything organically and naturally, but I'm also growing along with regular organic. One section of my farm is regular organic. I have another section which is biodynamic. This is a method that who's the Ron Koch who wrote Osawa's life story for his PhD at Harvard. He's a specialist in biodynamics. And so growing biodynamic, I'd read how to do it, and it's a little bit esoteric. And I may not understand it, but I know it works. So I have a whole section, maybe half a hectare, a plot where everything is grown strictly biodynamic. And interestingly, my neighbor, who has 300 organic cows on 900 hectares of land, he converted his whole farm. He grows tons of wheat and rye and oats and things to feed his cows. He converted his whole farm to biodynamic. And I had read Rudolf Steiner's book on agriculture 20 years ago in original German, and he was doing it and he didn't know quite how to do it. So I kind of helped him. And for it, we would make these esoteric preparations. Let me explain one. You take a barrel of water. No, first you take a cow, the cow's horn. Cow's horn is like in a spiral, it's pointed up. I think you've seen deers. They have antlers, and the antlers are reaching out to the environment to sense the environment. They want to know that they have predators. They could be attacked by a coyote or wolf or something. So they need to sense the environment, and the antlers act like antennas. They tune them into what's happening. But the cow horn is not spread out. It's a conical spiral shaped cone that is for absorbing energy from the cosmos, not for seeing what's happening out in the environment, but for drawing energy in. So you take the cow horn and you put some manure in it, some fresh cow manure. And then you bury it in the ground when there's a certain constellation overhead, and you leave it there for 6 months. You know, if you put a seed in the ground the next year or a couple of weeks later, it comes up, it sprouts. When you put ginseng seeds in the ground, they don't come up from 3 years. They're soaking up telluric energy, Earth's energy. The same thing, when you take the cow horn stuffed with cow manure and bury it in the ground, it's soaking up a type of energy. Then you take the cow horn and empty the manure into a large vat of water, and you stir it clockwise for 1 minute, and then counterclockwise for a minute, and then you reverse and go clockwise and then counterclockwise. You do this for an hour, and you do it at homeopathic doses. So you've taken something very small amount of this aged ripe cow manure and diluted it heavily. And then you stir it, you make vortexes, you make spirals. And these are like 2-arm spirals of our galaxy. The galaxy has 2 giant arms. One is a centrifugal clockwise and one is centrifugal counterclockwise. So you charging this water with the energy from the manure that's been buried in a cow horn. Hard to understand, right? I call it very esoteric, but nonetheless, you sprinkle this on your field, or if you're modern, you have a sprayer, a mechanical sprayer hooked up behind a tractor. But if you don't have that, you take a toothbrush and just spread this couple gallons of this on half a hectare. It's amazing what happens. Not only does the grains grow and whatever you're growing, but also the weeds, everything proliferates. But anyway, so this is another style of agriculture, and it's very different than organic. It is organic, but it's a special type of organic that gives extra energy and adaptation to the vegetables. So I have an organic section and I have a biodynamic. Then I have another one, which is Fukuoka. Masanobu Fukuoka wrote a book which started a revolution called One Straw Revolution. I read the book and I didn't believe it. So I got on an airplane, I flew over to Fukuoka and I lived with him for a while. And he grows things, he actually lets things grow themselves. So I went over there to learn this method and I met Fukuoka and we walked in his field and I said, well, where are your vegetables? And he said, you're stepping on them. And I couldn't see it because they're in a sea of other grasses and other plants that are growing there. And he also wrote The Natural Way of Farming. I have all of his books. Unfortunately, his #1 student, Larry King, he passed away a year ago. I kept inviting him. I couldn't understand why he wasn't answering my emails, but I tried to get him
Famous
here.
Larry King, the TV guy?
Not Larry King, it's Larry.
Oh.
Does anybody know his name? That Larry, anyway, he was the #1 student of Masanobu Fukuoka. So I went there and his basic idea is you can grow vegetables and keep the weeds down if you set low growing white clover, and that fixes nitrogen so you don't need to fertilize, and its root structure keeps tall weeds from growing all around. So when I was walking through his field, you walk right over a cucumber, over a daikon, over a carrot. They're hidden in amongst everything else, but there's lots of them. And then his rice, he also grows rice, and he doesn't use any tractors or anything. There's these amazing methods, and it's different than biodynamic. It's not so esoteric. It's more knowing the natural cycles of nature and applying them with the least amount, or as he called it, no work agriculture. Well, I was there 3 days, and when I ate the food, it was the most unbelievable. You ate very little and you had tremendous amount of energy and you were satisfied. So I realized that in the future, it could be we have droughts or big problems with agriculture, and we need to get high-powered food that we can eat little, but have lots of energy and maintain our weight. So I experimented with this method. Then there's another method from a woman in Russia. And
Bob, I'll just interrupt you for a minute. Flavia Chen is asking, could it be Larry Korn, K-O-R-N?
it was Larry Korn. Thank you. That's it.
That's it. That's
Larry
the Chens.
I met him when I was over there, and so for years I tried to get in touch with him to come here. Larry Korn. Thank you, Maria. Oh, we have
Flavia.
such great people in the audience there. By the way, thanks, Mike, for your talk. Very enjoyable. I wish I knew half as much as you do about 9-star key. Okay, so then Fukuoka's method. 3 days I was there, and eating the food was what really made me realize how powerful his method was. The reason I like it, one of the reasons, is you don't need a tractor. And if I'm living in the Czech Republic and we get our oil that's coming from Russia, and it usually comes through Ukraine and stuff, and that could dry up. So I'm looking for many methods to grow food where I don't need to plow and fertilize, use artificial fertilizer, or even organic fertilizer. And Fukuoka's methods were along that line. Biodynamic is very, very effective, but it takes a lot of preparations. You make special compost, you make what are called preparations, and there are many of them, to deal with different aspects of growing, either to get things to germinate or to keep pests away. And it's much more involved. It is effective. When I traveled through Australia, I saw land that had been desertification totally brought back to full productivity and enriched with biodynamic method. So I have organic section, biodynamic, and then I have a section of Fukuoka's. And his method is more, his method is very good, because one, you don't need a tractor and you don't have to use much in the way of fertilizer. But the fourth method, one of 4 out of maybe 10 different methods, is from a Russian woman in Siberia. And she's, if I had to say who the most evolved human being was, in my view, like, Osawa or Jesus or Buddha, well, they're not around. It used to be, I thought Nietzsche was the most highly evolved person that I'd met. And I'd met lots of gurus and spiritual people and lots of wonderful people, but he was the most practical, able to change people's health and their minds from negative to positive, from sick to health. But now I'm beginning to think the most highly evolved, the single most highly evolved person, this is my personal view, is a woman who she doesn't even, I've never seen her physically, but a man wrote about her, a man named Vladimir Megre, and she's called Anastasia, or what we would say Anastasia. And she's, the man, Vladimir Megre, wrote 9 books about her. And I can tell when it's his thoughts, and I can tell when it's her thoughts. When I read Nietzsche's books, I know if it's Ed Esco's thoughts, or I know if it's Nietzsche's thoughts. I know if, whoever's ghostwriting the books, I know which are their thoughts. And it's the same. When I read the Anastasia books, I know exactly which are coming from some very developed soul. She can do things, amazing things like teletransportation, and she speaks every language because it's only vibration, and she interprets it. And you probably think that if you read the book the first time and you don't have much sensitivity, you think it was written by Walt Disney or something. It's just so far out. But when you get to the practical part, suddenly you realize it is far out, but it's also very practical. So she's developed or presented a type of agriculture which is for healing any disorder: physical, emotional, mental, spiritual, social, hopefully financial. I don't know. She said anything. And to give you one example, when you're growing food, even if it's organic, some farmer's putting the seed in the ground, the seed doesn't know you, and it's growing. And in commercial agriculture, the farmer's doing it to make money. It's in organic farming, he might be making money, but he's doing it to protect the earth and stuff, but still the seed doesn't know you. And so it grows as healthy as it can, and you eat it and it tastes good and you cook it right and so on. But this method is you train the seed, you tell the seed that you are going to eat it. It's still going to grow into, let's say you're taking a carrot seed. It's still going to grow into a regular carrot and anybody can eat it. But if you eat it, it's going to especially change your energy field into more harmony. How does it do it? I'll explain. You take the seed, it has to be an organic, you can't use chemicalized seeds, and you put it in your mouth and you hold it there for 9 minutes. You take 5 or 6 seeds. The 5 or 6 seeds are absorbing DNA from your saliva. In other words, it's getting information about you. And then you take the seed after 9 minutes and you put it in your hand. As you probably all know, you've got 7 internal central chakras, and you've got 4 peripheral chakras. 2 of the peripheral are on your feet. If you see the reclining Buddha statues, he has a spiral in the center of his foot. Or if you see the pictures of Buddha's hand, he has a spiral in the center of the hand. These are peripheral chakras. So you put these seeds with your saliva, getting your DNA, and you put it for 30 seconds in the center of your hand. And now it's got your chakra vibrational level. Then you take the seeds and you blow on them. Well, I'm a blowhard, so I can do this pretty well. So you blow on it gently, and your breath, as you know from yoga, has prana. So you're informing the seed of 1, your prana through the breath, 2, your chakra vibrational level through your peripheral chakra, and 3, your DNA, in other words, from your saliva. You're informing the seed about you. And what is the problem today? Why are we eating bad? Why are we thinking wrong? Why are there wars, fighting, global, all these problems? Because we've lost the connection between heaven and earth, our mother and father, our ultimate mother and father, yin and yang, which come from the big one. And so what you do with these 5 seeds in your hand is you stand barefoot in the soil you're going to plant them in. And you put your hand up to the sky and your feet on the ground, and you connect that circuit. So heaven and earth's energy are informed of your DNA, prana, and chakra energy. The seed is storing this up and it's harmonizing it. Then you take the 5 carrot seeds and you plant them in the ground, and then you plant 30 or 40 more carrot seeds, which haven't been done this particular way. It doesn't matter. So the seeds go down, and the seeds are in a big community of millions and billions and trillions of microorganisms, and they're communicating with each other. And so the 5 seeds you've informed, they're saying, we're going to grow, especially for this guy, because he or girl or woman, man, because he's going to eat us. Therefore, I'm going to tell the seeds which are informed, I'm going to tell the other seeds, hey, get ready for this person. You're going to become that person. And do you want, since you're going to grow into a carrot and get eaten by, let's say, Mike Chen or Bob Carr or Donat Rice or whoever, do you want them to be healthy or what? Well, of course you do. Because if that carrot becomes you and you're unhappy, it's going to be an unhappy carrot. In other words, there's a tremendous communication amongst living things under the soil. So all of the seeds get informed. Then as they start to germinate, as they start to grow, they send their roots and they get exactly the minerals that you need. When you go to a doctor or get an aspirin, you're taking a generic medicine that isn't geared up specifically for your body. It's geared up for general people that have that condition. But if you have this seed getting exactly the minerals that you need in the right proportions, and then that's what it's doing all day, all night. And then at night, what is it doing? From the stars, the billions of stars overhead, it's soaking up the kind of energy you need for your thinking, for your spirit, for your energy field, for your aura, for, you know, all of these invisible parts. Well, so it grows. And so that's the start. And then you do a few things. Occasionally you wash your hands or your feet and you with the salts that are there. And as the plant's growing, you use some of that water to keep the seed growing plants informed about your changing conditions. And then when it comes up, you eat the food. You can do this with peas or carrots or onions, but each seed, you only do a few of the seeds and then you plant the rest of the row. I've done it to a minor degree, but I haven't been able to. I needed to have my own seeds. I needed organic seeds. I didn't want to put seeds with some kind of, you know, something that would kill bacteria. So anyway, this year I have my own seeds. I'm a great skeptic. I don't know if this is going to work or not, but my goal is with an experimental alternative farm is to try things out for myself. I've read the books, I've visited Fukuoka, I've done the organic, the biodynamic, and so on. And so I'm eating the foods that I'm growing. So I'm 180 years old and I'm still running around. So maybe something's working. Now I'm 76 and everybody around me is sick. And even some of my close friends and Macrobiotic and otherwise they're having a lot of health problems. And so far I've just been born under a lucky star. I don't know, I'm a what am I? I'm a 196 in 9-star key. Give me a 6 or 7, baby. I'm always getting married to a 258 and they soak up my energy like crazy, but I fool them. I have so much energy that I don't care. That's it. I don't know what, but I know that growing your own food, just even if it's whatever you're growing, is beneficial. But if it's organic or biodynamic or Fukuoka or this Anastasia method, you're far ahead of the game. Okay, so looking into my crystal ball, my 9-star crystal ball for 2036, things are going to get dry here. So personally, what I'm doing, I've got about 24 acres of land, about 14 hectares, is I'm building ponds. I'm growing ponds to store water. Then above and beyond that, my field is on a slight slant like this. It's not level. And so when it rains, the water pours off. So I'm digging trenches called swales. The swales are not a pond. They don't hold the water and retain it. They hold the water back and let it soak into the ground rather than running off. Then when we had the drought years, about 3 years ago, extreme drought, we had no slugs. But the rest of the time, when we had the flood years, we had a slug infestation. And all of my neighbors, everybody has the slug. And I'm getting up at 10 o'clock and taking the slugs out. I'm getting garlic powder and spraying it all over the place. I'm reading every book on what you can do. I get up at 10 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 4 o'clock to just, otherwise I have nothing. And sometimes I have nothing. There're just too many slugs. I built slug fences. They take care of about 70% of them. And now around my slug fence, I have about 10 gardens for different vegetables with slug fences. And around the slug fences, I have pine needles because slugs don't like the sharp needles and they don't like acid forming. So I'm learning a lot about slugs, but slugs are still a problem. But my new approach is now I have the swales retaining water is to level a 2-foot wide, about 4 inches above, about 6 inches above the ground, a mound, slightly curved. And I'm planting a special type of grass called bunch grass. And these are what are called Beetle Banks. They're 2 to 3 feet wide, and they go the whole length of my grain field, my bean field, and my vegetable patches. And what they do is you plant this bunch grass and a couple of shrubs and some regular special flowers, but certain ones, and they attract beetles and black beetles and other insects which eat slugs, and they eat the other pests which are proliferating when it's a rainy season or a rainy week or time. So those are 2 extra things. And what else? That's pretty much it for, so anyway, this is the way I'm planning for Benji's education, is one, that he can survive if there are massive challenges or problems or difficulties coming up, which there could be. And the other way is, the only thing that really counts, these are all to me just forms of love. You express your love, but how to take care of, and other people do it by taking the computer and the cell phone away from their kids. I like to do that, but the most important is love and how you relate to the land, to the people around you, how you relate to the future, what's coming, how you prepare in advance. So that's about it. I'm going to open up to, oh, Benji, you there?
Yes.
You want to show Paya?
Uh,
No, it's okay. Anyway, let's open up for questions. These are some of the ways that I'm doing stuff.
I'm just going outside with them, okay?
Okay, yeah, good. Enjoy. Hello, Selma Brayer. I don't hear anything though.
Bob, I hope you're writing a memoir and including all your experimentations for not only your son but for a person, for the rest of for history.
Well, by the way, Boomy, who used to go to the French Meadows, is organizing 10 or 15 people to come over here in the fall of this year. And she's going to teach yoga. I'm going to show people the fields and do doin and shiatsu and the stuff that I always did at French Meadows.
Oh,
Well, I forgot to mention that, but that'll be my first inviting or having people come over from the United States, although anybody's welcome, but it has to be, we have a center and it has to be a group of about 10, 15, up to 20 people to make it worthwhile. And then we get we get a cook in and Macrobiotic, of course, and most of the food will come from my garden, from my fields.
and who is organizing this?
Boomy, Harriet Russell. Boomy used to go to French Meadows.
Okay.
Bhumi.
Bob, if you want to send me information about that, I could spread the word
Sure.
through my channels.
No, super, super.
Someone is asking Bob, which Anastasia book is about gardening?
The first one. Book number one, called Anastasia, has most of the information about the gardening, and subsequent books have a little bit of extra things you can do to enhance the process. But the basic idea is in book number one, called Anastasia by Vladimir Megre.
And then I wondered if Benji is participatory or interested in the farming that you've been talking about.
Not much. He's got his own lifestyle, his own. I'm waiting for him to grow into it. I'm not pushing. He helps me when I need help in the field. He comes out and helps and stuff, but I think it's kind of, he doesn't quite get it yet. I'm waiting for him to grow up, and he may not be a farmer. He might choose another path. He might be a city person, but that's up to him. I'm not trying. I try to just give him options, and then he can choose the life that's suitable for him. Just curious if the farm No, I don't farm for a livelihood. That's the question was, do I farm just for my family? Or I do. I grow so many squash. I have so many Hokkaido squash that I give a lot of them away to my friends. And we have a bunch of groups here. I'm not the only one that teaches at my center. We have people doing tantra yoga and environmental groups, and it's generally macrobiotic related, but I don't do all the teachings. And when people come here, I often supply them with food, and I don't sell it commercially, but now and then I'll sell a couple of pumpkin. I'll go to a restaurant and say, hey, you want some organic pumpkin in exchange for some food or something. I do. I'm trying to get rid of the use of my tractors, but I still need them because many of my fields do need to be plowed, and I plow them and cultivate. And I've got a small Japanese rice combine because I've got so many grains. I usually when I grow wheat, I grow enough for 3 years, and then the next year I grow barley. And so I've got most of the grains, but getting it cleaned is a problem because I'm a small scale farmer. I might grow 200 or 300 kilos, and the mills won't take, or the cleaning stations won't take less than 2 or 3 tons. And I don't have that capacity. So I've been doing a lot of hand cleaning and looking for alternatives, but I have lots of problems as a small scale farmer. But nothing that can't be solved. I'm looking for a manager, for somebody that loves to pull weeds, cook, you know, but preferably somebody that speaks Czech, because I'm trying to learn the language. Anything else? You're all
Fantastic.
welcome to come over here, but bring a small group. Let me know in advance, because we usually have a week or so every month open, but sometimes not. But I tell you, I live in the most beautiful place in the world. We're at the edge of a small village next to a forest, and it's a protected forest because there's some rare bird. So there's no farming, no chemicalized use on the area. We have fresh air, and we're in the area which has the best water in the Czech Republic. And so we have good air, good water. We don't have many, I'm getting a sign, my internet's not very strong. So we're far away from the little village, and we're in an area which has a national park. It's for hiking, and they've got giant rocks, rock formations. It's spectacular. If you like to hike, this place is paradise.
Sounds like it. Listen, I'll put it out there. Anyone who's interested, let me know. We'll organize a trip. We'll go out there. We'll coordinate with Bob, and we'll have an incredible experience.
You will.
So yeah. Bob, it
Bob, are
remains
you-
just for me to thank you. Did I hear something?
No,
Are
I
you
was just
planning
gonna
on
thank you
going-
again. Oh, sorry.
Bob, if they have a holistic holiday at sea this year, will you be on it?
He said, I spoke to Sandy, he's not gonna do it this year, but next year.
Okay.
With, you know, the COVID permitting. But, you know, I like it. I've been on most of them, not all of them, but I think he's looking for younger talent myself. I don't know. Even T. Colin Campbell's, he's an old fuddy-duddy. He may be the most brilliant old fuddy-duddy in town, but they're old. I don't know. Caldwell Esselstein's up there. Caldwell Esselstein's my buddy from Cleveland, the Cleveland Clinic, the heart guy. And he fell off his bike last year.
Oh,
So
no.
yeah, these guys have to take care of themselves, these old fuddy-duddies.
Bob, you're terrific. Thank you so much for sharing your knowledge. And it's just, it's like Mike Chen's 9-star key and your agriculture stuff. It's like, woo, thank you so much.
There's hope for this world yet. And this is it. I think we're it. We've got a lot of friends. My son, by the way, he raises money for clean air for all the nonprofits. He funds them. The people that are going into their towns and cleaning up, you know, the factories and the emitters. And he's the international, it's a German company, but they raise the money and then they fund all over the world. So
This is a different son, I think.
Right.
yeah, different son, not Benji, one of my adopted sons. Benji's Bio, and the other 3 kids are adopted. So everybody do, and thanks so much, Gannat, for organizing this type of thing. We need about
Great.
20 times more.
Well, we hope to see you in person on site.
Great. Take care. Bye, everybody.